Wolverhampton Wanderers 2, Manchester United 0. Another really poor day for Manchester United, another performance that wasn't really good enough, and to be honest, a performance that I felt really summarised everything about where Manchester United are currently as a football club, and of course as a football team on the pitch as well. I think if I could use kind of two key buzz terms, if you like, for this performance, it would be player profiling, but also game state. Those are two of the big issues for Manchester United in this particular match. Of course, today we are going to break all of that down. First of all, if you could quickly subscribe, that'd be great, and then let's get into the video. Now for today's video, what I really want to focus on is the first half. Of course, in the second half, Bruno Fernandes got sent off very early. It completely changes the football match when it's 11 versus 10. When it's 11 versus 11, you get a real idea of what both teams are trying to do, where your manager is succeeding tactically, where your players are succeeding, but also where you've got some issues as well. So we are going to focus on the first half, and in the first half, Manchester United were largely in control. 57% possession, it was pretty comfortable. Wolves didn't offer too much attacking threat, but the problem was neither did Manchester United. So we'll start from the back and work our way through the pitch. Starting off with goal kicks, Wolves were slightly passive. They didn't put us under a lot of pressure, which really suits us and helps us to play out from the back. When they did press, I felt that we were seeing glimpses of a slightly better system from Manchester United. And the reason I would call it a better system is because the players were in better situations. Recently, we have had one of our centre-backs in midfield. We didn't see that as much in this game. It was more often Ugarte and Kobbie Mainoo in these positions. And actually, even Mazraoui could rotate inside as well, and Ahmad could drop wider. This was giving Manchester United more players in the first phase. This was a good thing for United, and it allowed us to move the ball forward. Of course, when we are moving the ball forward, we all know by now it's pretty simple. Ruben Amorim wants us to build possession with a back three. In this game, it was Harry Maguire in the middle, Lenny Yoro on the right, Lisandro Martinez on the left. Arguably our best back three, depending on where you stand on the Ligt, but it's certainly a strong back three. And in terms of in possession, the only upgrade you could really do is Mazraoui in a deeper position. But we've got this back three, and then we've got Ugarte and Kobbie Mainoo in midfield. It's a good shape, it's a good structure, it allows Manchester United to control the ball, particularly when Wolves are fairly passive initially. Aït-Nouri and Semedo, the two wing-backs, played very much like that as wing-backs, not wingers. They were quite deep. They were often in this sort of 5-2-3 shape for Wolves. They had a lot of players behind the ball, and they were letting United have the ball in these areas. The problem is, it's starting to feel a little bit like teams want us to have the ball in these areas because they know that we can't really go anywhere with it. There were moments where we could progress because, for example, the Wolves shape, it is a little bit passive, so we could move the ball outside of their shape into Bruno Fernandes in this space or Ahmad in this space. That is good. But when we would do that, Wolves would just see that as the cue to be a bit more aggressive. They step on into this area, they go a bit more man-to-man, and force us to play backwards. And this was kind of the trigger for Wolves to then be more aggressive. The wing-backs would then come out and they would lock off one side of the pitch, man-to-man. And the problem for Manchester United is, in these man-to-man situations, we're just not very good. We haven't yet got the patterns under Ruben Amorim due to the lack of training time. And also individually, we just don't have the best individuals in the league. Nowhere near. So this is a real problem for Manchester United. When teams kind of switch to this trigger to go man-to-man, to put us under pressure, our players just actually aren't really good enough to deal with it. The other problem is the opposite as well. When teams are sitting a little bit deeper, we can't really break that down either. The out ball that we always seems to have is the ball out to Dalot on the left-hand side. We'll work the ball down the right-hand side. We'll kind of draw the opposition onto us. Semedo in particular was often playing quite narrow, actually on Bruno Fernandes. And what we're going to look to do is work the ball in these areas and then switch. But again, is that good football from Manchester United? Or is that, because we've seen it in a few games now, teams actually letting us do that, knowing that once we get the ball out into this position, we've got very little. That's no disrespect to Diogo Dalot. He's a good player, but he's not a left wing back. He is not a left-footed player, and he has absolutely no attacking threat down the left-hand side. Coupled with Bruno Fernandes, another player who wants to come inside the pitch, United have nothing. There are moments where we get into these areas on the left-hand side. For example, just before the red card, Dalot's got this space to attack, but Manchester United physically can't do it because we haven't got the players in the positions. It's a real problem, and I think what we should do, and what I really like to do when you look at teams, you look at systems, and you look at the players on the pitch, is kind of split it up into compartments and look at different parts of the pitch. And I think in this formation in particular, such an important thing to talk about is the wide diamonds. So we're talking about wide centre-back, central midfielder, inside forward, wing-back. And we're looking at the profiles that United have in these positions. Down the left-hand side, Lisandro Martinez, okay, nice, a good ball progressor. Ugarte, decent ball retention, not an awful lot more than that on the ball. Bruno Fernandes, good creativity, but limited ball carrying ability. Dalot, a good, all-round, secure, athletic player. He can carry the ball pretty well, but he's not really a dribbler. Manchester United down this side of the pitch have no one that can take the ball and go and beat a player, go and commit 2 or 3 men. If we look at Wolves on the flip side of that, players like Cunha, Guedes, Andre, even Gomez could take the ball and take the ball past players. United had absolutely none of that on the left-hand side. If we switch to the right-hand side, we lack expansive passing. I think Yoro, Kobe, Mazraoui, Ahmad, they're all good short space players, but there's that lack of long range, there's that lack of diversity in the way that we attack down this pitch. It's very stale, it's very samey. We are looking for sort of quick, short attacking combos, but again, we lack a player who is repeatedly going to commit 2 or 3 players from the opposition. And again, when the opposition are going man-to-man and we can't win the ball in these man-to-man situations, United are always going to have trouble moving the ball forward. And then sort of the other problem on top of that in the attack, and this is a bit more of a structural problem, and this was one of my main concerns when Ruben Amorim came into the club, but it's also a profile problem as well in terms of the players we've got. When we do get into the final third, when we get ourselves into an attacking position, we look at our front 5. In a situation like this, it's Dalot, Bruno Fernandes, Rasmus Højlund, Ahmad and Mazraoui. Now, of course there, what we've got is we've got a striker, we've got a winger, we've got an attacking midfielder, and we've got 2 fullbacks. Not very creative fullbacks at that. And I think what's really interesting to do is to compare that to the best team in the league, Liverpool at the moment. In their game last night for their first goal, we look at their front 5, it's wingers, it's midfielders, it's strikers. You know, whereas United had Mazraoui providing the width on the right-hand side, Liverpool had Salah in that attack. That's a difference. That's a real difference. And it's a huge, huge problem for United. We can control the ball. But the problem is when you control the ball, which is a good thing, by the way. But when you do control the ball, the opposition do get time to get behind you. To get men behind the ball, sorry. They can sit off a little bit deeper. They can compact the space. Now, the result of this is you are going to control the game. And again, United did that at 11 versus 11. We had control. Wolves had a couple of moments in transition after sloppy passes, but not an awful lot. Outside of Cunha, they weren't causing us too many problems. But we had nothing going forward. And you can actually see it kind of in the pass map, particularly in the middle of the pitch. United had no way to go through the centre at all. And when the wide diamonds just aren't working, it leaves us with very little. It leaves us with a Rasmus Højlund who, first of all, didn't play very well, but was incredibly isolated and didn't get enough touches. And Manchester United just never looked like scoring a goal. And now a lot of that is player profiles. We don't have the players in the positions to do the work that we want them to do. The other thing that I spoke about right at the start of the video was game state. So what's the game state in this game? At 0-0, 11v11, United are okay. We're not good. We have to up it. We have to be better. But we're okay in that moment. We were controlling the game up to that point. Then you get a bit of head loss, a silly tackle from Bruno Fernandes. Now, I do think the first yellow card is incredibly harsh, and some of the bookings that Wolves didn't get was mental, to be honest. The inconsistency on bookings in this game was crazy, but it's not an excuse. It is a silly tackle from Bruno Fernandes, and we're down to 10 men. In terms of game state, winning a football match in the Premier League with 10 men is incredibly difficult. I don't care who you're playing against. But when you also consider the fact that we have a squad that can't win duels. We can't. We got outdueled in this game. We got out-battled. We got out-fought on every part of the pitch. Now, I'm not saying that's a lack of player effort, because I don't think it is. It's a lack of physicality. It's a lack of tall players. It's a lack of strong tacklers, players that can go win the ball in the air. All those things combined means you just don't win your battles. And when you don't win your battles, you're going to struggle to truly control a football match to its full potential, particularly with 10 men. And then to add to it, conceding a goal again from a direct corner. Can you believe it? Can you believe that we conceded another goal from the direct corner? It is mind-boggling that we've managed to do that twice in the space of a week. Absolutely mind-boggling. And again, then it's game state. We've got 10 men. We're a goal down because we've conceded another set piece, which, by the way, the coaches have to sort it out. We don't have a great squad for set pieces, but the defending is pathetic. That is on the coaches and the set piece coaches, etc. We have to sort that. But now we're 1-0 down with 10 men. We're going to chase the game. We're going to push players forward. We're going to take risks. And when you do all of those things, you completely sacrifice control of the game. The opposition can take the ball from you. They've got better physical players than you. They can run better than you. They can move across the pitch better than you. They're going to find a second goal. It was always going to happen. Wolves were always going to find a second at some point. They win the game 2-0. And it looks like another really bad day for Manchester United. Performance-wise, I don't actually think it was horrendous with 11 versus 11. But it wasn't good either. It was almost the bare minimum that Manchester United done in the first half. We still have nothing going forward. In the second half, game state. Game state. I really don't think we can take too much from the second half in terms of analysis. People might look at the team falling apart, conceding 2 goals, etc., etc. But it's a loss of control, loss of thought from Bruno Fernandes. It's a silly foul. He doesn't need to make it. We're down to 10 men, and you almost feel in that moment that it was inevitable that Manchester United would go on to lose. You're going to struggle in that sort of game in a 5-3-1 shape. It's going to be a problem. Like I said, then when you are literally every single week, and I mean it's literally every single game at the moment, giving away at least one set-piece goal, you're giving yourself a huge mountain to climb because you're always at a 1-goal deficit. We might as well go into matches 1-0 down because we will always concede a set-piece. And again, being 1-0 down with 10 men, good luck to any team in the Premier League winning in those circumstances. It happens sometime. But when we've got a squad which we already know isn't good enough, isn't particularly threatening at 11v11, we're not going to score 2 goals with 10. It was just never going to happen. We tried, we committed players forward. I still don't think we were absolutely horrendous in the second half. But, yeah, not great, was it? It was not a great day for Manchester United. It's a really bad result. It felt like not a must-win game because I don't really know what we're aiming for this season, but it was a winnable game. It really should have been a winnable game. We've got 2 very difficult fixtures coming up, but this is what we are at the moment. Ruben Amorim knows he hasn't really got the squad that he wants. He hasn't got a squad which fully suits the system, particularly in the wider areas. What he needs to try and do is find solutions within the squad that he's got. Now, he's not helped by the fact that we've got Mason Mount injured, Bruno Fernandes now suspended, and 2 forwards that he's kind of fallen out with or are out of favour, shall we say, got off the pitch issues. It's tricky, but that is Ruben Amorim's job. You are manager of Manchester United, and we can criticise the players a lot, but actually Ruben Amorim does need to get a little bit more from him. Of course, that will come when we get more training time, but we do need to still see more improvement. I don't think we should pretend that Ruben Amorim has been perfect so far. He needs to do work. He needs to keep improving this Manchester United side, but it's certainly not time to lose faith. It's just very, very tough right now. This is where Manchester United are. This is what happens when you sack a manager 3 or 4 months into the season and give a new manager the job without time. It's going to be a little bit messy. Ruben Amorim told all of us that that would be the case. We just kind of got to stick through it and hope we keep seeing these bits of progression, which we are still seeing. The play-out structure was better. The build-up structure does provide control. The next bit is to add that quality in the final third. Set pieces, don't even get me started. There's a lot of work to do there. United are improving, but we need to do a lot more improving. Yeah, that's where we are at the moment. That's where we are for today. So I think we are going to leave the video there because if not, I'm just going to repeat myself. So thank you guys very much for watching this video. Hope you have enjoyed it. Probably not the right word. I also hope you guys had a great Christmas as well. But yeah, apart from that, I'll see you in the next one.